Welcome back to Notes Edition, where I read notes off of my phone. Today's note is called Paycheck Routine. Financial hygiene sounds about as fun as brushing your teeth. That said, knowing exactly what to do with each paycheck seems like a productive habit to develop. So, what's your paycheck routine? If you don't like showing up to work and yet you don't have a paycheck routine, you're basically saying, I don't like my job, but I'm okay with working here indefinitely. Unless you're consistently making hand over fist at your job, you're probably spending most of what you make. Even if you only spend half of what you make, you'd still have to spend 1 year working to enjoy 1 year off, assuming zero inflation. The reality is that if you want to leave your job, you have to make a plan for your escape, an exit strategy. You have to set an intention, a why for your reason for leaving, and a where for the places that you want to go next. You obviously can't just leave your job tomorrow without facing the consequences. Once you know where you want to go and why, you have to draw out a detailed map of how you want to get there. A path that's possible, one that makes sense, and has achievable steps. That's the reason for developing a paycheck routine. We definitely don't do it for the mere joy of crunching numbers. We do it because it gets us one step closer to quitting, one step closer to a true calling. So what do you do with your paycheck once it hits your bank account? Some people like to celebrate the minute that they see a boost in their account balance. They go out for drinks, enjoy time with friends. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that. Some people like to buy the wish list, something they've had their eye on. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that either. But if you're like me, sometimes you don't do either. Sometimes you don't go out or buy the expensive toy. Sometimes you just go to work and pay bills. And yet, sometimes even covering the basics feels like a struggle. That's why we need to take a look under the hood. What's going on with my income and my spending that's got me hooked on a job I don't enjoy, a job keeping me from doing what I actually want to do? Sorting through these questions takes a lot of time and reflection, so for now, let's dive into the paycheck routine. If you're working a typical job, you get paid twice a month, maybe even once a week. How much do you set aside for housing? How much do you set aside for utilities? How much for food, going out, wants versus needs? Starting a paycheck routine doesn't have to be difficult. Write down what you want to allocate toward each category, basically a detailed plan of how you want to divvy up your paycheck. Until you increase your paycheck, that set dollar amount is the reality of what you can reasonably afford. And if you want to quit your job, some of that paycheck will need to be set aside to build some financial runway. Basically a savings buffer to buy enough time back to do what you're actually meant to be pursuing. When you routinely split up your paycheck into different categories, you're looking for opportunities to carve out a portion of that paycheck towards the escape hatch fund. When you decide to spend less going out or cancel your Netflix for the next 6 months, you're not doing it because you don't enjoy those things. You're doing it in exchange for something you value more, the ability to choose how you spend your time. When you don't have any money, you feel obligated to show up for work. The more money you've saved up, the more you feel like you get to show up to work because you value the results, not just because you are drowning in bills. And if someday you don't get enough value from your job, you can walk away knowing your savings can buy you time to find a better, more fulfilling income opportunity. Try it out. Take a look at your next paycheck and split it up into categories before you spend it. How much of this do I want to spend on needs? How much of this paycheck do I want to spend on wants? How much to save for emergencies? How much to put away in savings? And how much of this paycheck goes toward long-term investing? Once you have the intention and the awareness, now it's time to put in the reps. Each time you get a paycheck, start to think, how do I want to allocate this energy? Then follow through with the routine, transfer the money you want to go to savings, pay the bills, budget the groceries, and make the necessary investments. As you develop an effective paycheck routine, you'll start to realize that all of this is a form of investment. Some of your energy is invested into surviving today, some of it is invested into surviving the future, and hopefully all of it is invested into increasing your quality of life for the long run. That's why we take the time to develop a paycheck routine. And that's today's note. If you'd like some help improving your paycheck routine, go check out this video on retrospective budgeting. Basically, I show the tools and techniques I used to get out of debt and start investing. Cheers.